Well, hello everyone. Today is such an important day, such a fantastic day for us here at Quintero Partners. We have the privilege, the pleasure to actually have American Income Life's, National Income Life's as well, CEO, Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Steve Greer here visiting us from Texas. Took a private jet to be here with us today, which by the way, that's fantastic. It really shows that he cares about our organization and everything that's going on. We are excited, honored to have him here today. Sir, it is an honor to have you here, Mr.
Pleasure
Greer.
to be here, Beto.
Thank you so very much.
Pleasure
so
to be here.
it is definitely amazing to have you here, and we're gonna go ahead and pick your brain a little bit today. But also, I'd like to go ahead and introduce also our executive team. We have our executive senior partner, Mr. Sergio Carta. Sergio, thank you so much for being here today with us as well.
Thank you.
What an honor. And then lastly but not least, we have our President and Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Walter Casa. Walter, what a pleasure to have you here, brother.
Thank you.
So what we want to do today is just basically ask you some few questions, Steve, and altogether also thank you and thank the company for everything that has done for us and for the communities around the United States, Canada, and New Zealand that we serve and we provide protection for. I have had the great blessing and opportunity to be with this great company almost for 13 years now. Not almost, but 13 years now. Which, by the way, you know, time flies when you're having fun. But I have seen how we have been able to really make an impact in the lives of thousands, millions of people around the United States, Canada, New Zealand that we have protected, and also the thousands of people that have created opportunity unlimited for their families and for their legacy. So to have the CEO of this great company here visiting us is really such an honor. But I just want to go ahead and say, at least in my behalf, and I believe in the behalf of our team as well, thank you for everything that you do for this great company. Welcome to Quintero Partners, sir.
Tell you what, you guys have been so welcoming, and I really want to thank you for just having open doors and making me feel so welcome. Really excited to be in from Texas and just looking forward to hanging out with you guys.
Of course. Anytime you can drop in. Absolutely. So thank you. So we want to ask you some few questions. I know that you guys have some questions that you have in your mind, but I wanted to start out with a quick question, but also very straight to the point, right? We understand in our side, you know, what American Income is to us, our home, the vehicle that allows us to be here, the vehicle that propels all the soul of Quintero Partners and what we do for our communities. I'd like to go ahead and ask you also that in reverse. You know, as the CEO, knowing our history, which is short, only 5 years as an agency, what is your intake of Quintero Partners? What is Quintero Partners for American Income Life?
Well, let me just start by saying, Beto, that you know, as a company, we know that everything that's good for the agent kind of works its way up. Mm-hmm. And so you kind of start with everything, you know, just being good for the agent. It turns out to be good for the SA, good for the GA, RGA, and on up at the agency level. But let me just take you guys back in time for a moment, maybe about 5 years ago, when I had the privilege of working with Beto for the first time in my career. This year I celebrate 20 years, and I've been in every position in the company, from agent all the way up through every management position. But 5 years ago, I had the pleasure of having Beto join the home office team mm-hmm. as one of our directors. And I tell you what, it really started to change the vision for the company. Beto has always had like a really big vision of what he wanted to do at some point. He expressed to me at some point he wanted to be an agency owner and wanted to expand the Latino division. And after barely a year at the home office, kind of coming in, learning some of the behind the scenes stuff, Beto moved down to Miami, started an agency from scratch, and literally has put together, by far 100%, as far as I know, the fastest growing agency from 0 to 5 million. And I'll at least say that in recent history. In my tenure in time, I don't know of any other that's done it that fast. So what does Quintero Partners mean to AIL? It means a lot. Why? Because the Latino market is something that we've always wanted to expand in, but with any expansion you need leaders. And the Latino division at American Income Life started with Quintero and Partners. And many of the offices today, almost all of the offices today, have some sort of lineage, if you will, or link back to Quintero and Partners. So for that, we are indebted to you, Beto. You know, you came out here, started a great agency, have developed tons of leaders like Walter and Sergio, and really have kind of set the standard And I can say today that across American Income Life, all across American Income Life, the Latino market is currently the fastest growing segment of our business, and we're super excited about it. In fact, I was telling you earlier, I need to brush up on my Spanish a little bit, right? Bring up my game. So, yeah, in a nutshell, we know that the success of what has happened so far in the Latino market all comes out of your agency.
Our agency, our culture, all of us. Thank you tremendously, and it's such an honor. But it's also for us, and I believe I speak for all of us. It is a responsibility. It really is a responsibility to do better at all times. So I know that Walter also has a few questions for you.
Yes,
Sure.
absolutely. Let me bring it to a macro level.
Okay.
So you've seen the growth that American Income's had over the years. What's the number that they're looking for the Latino market to come through, for American Income? And what role do you see in the future of Quintero Partners playing into that number?
So, great question. One of the things that I've got to mention, Walter, is that what you guys have done starting here in Miami has also inspired other Latinos that were part of just agencies around the company to understand that, that there's a market. And so by you showing this market, there are a lot of other people and other agencies that went, hey, we should have a Latino market, or we should recruit more in the Latino market in our area. So I would say the first stop for the Latino market at American Income Life is at 100 million. And obviously you guys are one of the early pioneering agencies, and I talked to you guys a little bit earlier, like I really feel like your all's next stop is 10 million. And, I can tell you this, you guys, this is probably something you don't know, but we are expecting to end this year at $27 million in Latino business.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I would say the first little check mark is 100 million, but I can promise you this: we have big goals, big vision. Our bigger vision as a company is $1 billion, and it's not $1 billion to hit a sales number. It's that we know how many families will be protected when we do that. And currently, right now, we're protecting somewhere around 50 to 60,000 new families every month are getting covered and getting protected. And with us doing about 300 million, we know that when we're protecting somewhere around 200 to 250,000 families a month, at that point we're going to hit that number. We know that translates back into more agents realizing Opportunity Unlimited, more vesting of renewals, more giving back to the communities that we serve. So we're excited about our purpose driving us towards that number. And I have to tell you, I think the Latino market is going to be a huge, huge part of that.
For sure.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. It's incredible how much impact does the vision of a company, does the soul of a company does in the lives of those people that we both protect and we grow with. Because I'm going 13 years, I'm 38 years old. I don't know about you guys, but I have at least another 40 to give. And that's a life that you share with people that you're with, right? And if you choose to share those times with people that are like-minded for good, that are God-fearing people, that of course money is great, and I'm not a hypocrite. I like money. I think that money gives us all the opportunity to have freedom, and that freedom is a privilege that we need to take in a good way. But more than the money, to have a purpose of help, and to leave a legacy, and to be with a company that also shares those principles of honesty, good, trust, and integrity, that's really something. How would you see, or how would you say as a CEO that is a challenge, or what kind of challenges do you face in refer to other companies that have different messages and that literally battle our way of helping people?
So, kind of a couple of different thoughts. One is throughout my life, you're always going to have some sort of competition or chatter or whatever. And the first thing I tell you is that I've always been focused on, first and foremost, making our opportunity just a better opportunity. I don't try to spend a ton of my time thinking about what the competition's doing. I know that if I make this opportunity better every single day, that we don't have to worry about the competition, so to speak. With that in mind, really what I'm looking out for are our clients and our agents. You know, we talked about being one big family, going through life together. And every single day, the decisions that I make, I try to make them to make, you know, this a better opportunity for that family. And so, listen, all throughout history and over the years, I've been doing this for 20 years, there are all kinds of things that are built on, they're not built on solid ground, and they always crumble because of that. We're in the people business, and people don't leave companies, people leave people. And if you don't build the company on the right principles, character, and all the things that you talked about with honesty, integrity, and trust, ultimately those things crumble at the same time. You know, there are a lot of companies out there selling products. There's a lot of companies out there selling the same products in other markets. But the companies that are great always are the ones that have the great leaders inside the company. And what I can tell you is we have the greatest minds in the business by far. By far and away, we have the greatest minds in the business. The entrepreneurial spirit of the agency owners at American Income Life, every good idea that has ever come to this company has not come from the home office. It's always come from the field, always from those entrepreneurs that are out there trying to get better every single day. And here's what I'll tell you, Beto, when you do business that way, you're always going to have some type of adversity coming towards you. You just mentioned competition, but let's talk about a global pandemic. Let's say you have a situation where you have a global pandemic. A company that's built the right way can transition in a matter of 9 days, go to virtual business, and literally in just barely 1 year, we were able to go from 7,500 agents to over 10,000 agents. I know that's a company that's blessed. I know there are a lot of companies and a lot of small businesses that unfortunately went out of business during that time. But what I've seen over the years with American Income Life is the more adversity that we face in that type of an example, the better we become as a company. So if there's competitors, if there's competition, if there's global pandemics, bring it on. We just want to get better.
That's amazing. That's exactly how I feel. That's phenomenal. Sergio, so we know that you also have maybe something in your mind, a question that you wanted to ask to our CEO. What you got?
¿Qué recomendación nos darías para poder llegar al siguiente nivel, para desbloquear el siguiente nivel y que Quintero Partners pueda ser una agencia número 1 para American Income a nivel mundial?
What recommendations would you give us to go to the next level? What recommendations would you tell us? What is your suggestion for us to go to the next level, for Quintero Partners to go to another level and be one of the top agencies for this company in the world?
Great question. Great question. This business is built on leaders, and leaders reflect in our business. They do two things. They write insurance, or they recruit and train people to write insurance. That's what leaders do at American Income Life. And each leader sort of has an aura, if you will, of ALP that sort of surrounds them.
True.
Right now, as I met your senior partners, that is a great group of people. I think there are about 6 or 7 people that were on that team. And when you look at the leader, you know, the entire leadership team, SAs, GAs, you know, all the way up through the senior partners, the ALP and the business that you guys write, the families that you touch are a reflection of that leadership. Not to overcomplicate things, but really when you guys are doing 10 million, all that's really going to happen is I'm going to show up and the list of senior partners is going to be twice as big. Very rarely do you find in American Income that you get more business without more leaders. Very rare. And if it happens, it's for a very short time. And so to answer your question, my recommendation is 2 things. Number 1, invest in yourself. You're going to have to get better every single day, whether it's through podcast, audio books, reading books, attending conferences. You've got to get better all the time. You know, you've got to get your leadership skills better.
Yeah, you got to feed your mind.
You got to feed it all the time, constantly, for 2 reasons. Number 1, if you don't do it all the time, your people get tired of hearing the same thing over and over again. So you got to give them some new material. But the other thing is this, to really stretch yourself because of the responsibility that comes with leadership. It's your duty to get better as a person. That's number 1. Number 2, invest back in your people. You can never go wrong Anytime. You can invest in pictures, walls, videos, and everything else, but there's never anything you can do better than investing back in your people. And you can do that one of two ways. You can do it with time or money, or a combination of both. And this is a relationship business. The reason why I'm here spending time with you guys is to build stronger relationships with you. And the reason I do that is because if you've read, for example, like the book Lead for God's Sakes,
I have.
they use the parallel of making deposits and withdrawals. And so there will be times every once in a while where I need to make a withdrawal. So I've got to make sure that I put in plenty of deposits so that you understand my heart.
I love that book. It was
It is a great book. And so, to answer your question, Sergio, it's really, we've got to spend a lot of time with our people. If we help our people reach their dreams and goals and everything that they're after, a byproduct is everything else we want to happen for the agency and the goals, they happen. And so it's literally one person at a time, one new essay at a time, and home growing leaders is what I would answer.
That's
Thank you,
fantastic.
sir.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, listen. Just to wrap this up, once again, in behalf of our organization, Quintero Partners, and all of our partners, starting partners, junior partners, managing partners, executive senior partners, and our president, and myself, it is such an honor. It is a privilege to have you here. Thank you so very much, Mr. C. Greer, Chief Executive Officer, American Income Life and National Income Life. Until next time.
Thank you guys. We
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank you.
everything you guys do, and looking forward to seeing what's next for you guys.
That's fantastic.
Exciting.
Thank you so much for you guys that took the time to actually be here with us. I hope that you have a fantastic day, and remember, if you do good by God, God will do good by you. Put the benefit of the other before the benefit of your own, and the money is the byproduct of doing what's right. So until the next time, thank you so very much.